I have a 2-year-old at home, and I was trying to get him to eat something he did not want to eat. And in that moment, in order to get me to go away, he looked at me and said, "Daddy, don't you have drone batteries to charge?" Which tells me, he knows that this is a huge part of the process of owning a drone company, and a problem, because I spend way too much time away from my kids charging drone batteries right now. So if we could find a way to shorten that time, I'd be greatly appreciated. My name is Josh Friedman. I wear a lot of different hats these days. My primary job, I own a digital media company called 10 Digital Media, and we do video production and photography, and we specialize in aerial digital media, which I'll talk more about in a moment. In addition to that, I've been very involved in drone education for a long time now, specifically through the community college system. I've taught at Golden West College and Cypress College. I'm currently on faculty at Coastline Community College, and I'm also on faculty at Cal Poly Pomona. When I was at Golden West teaching video production, 5 years ago, I got the first drone for our company. And this is one of the few industries, by the way, where if you've been involved for 4 to 5 years, you're a veteran in this industry. And we are still at the beginning. Anybody wanting to get into this now, you are entering an industry at the beginning of an industry. And I'll never forget bringing the drone into the classroom for video production and showcasing to my students a way that we can get an aerial perspective for video production. And at the end of the lesson, I looked and I said, "Look, is this something that you would like to know more about? How many of you would be interested? How many of you would like to possibly one day have a career flying drones?" Every single student's hand in the room went up. And I realized 5 years ago that this is something big, and this is going to be something big. And I got involved in drone education. And what started to happen is weekly I'd be getting calls from other colleges, either from deans, from faculty members, even some students. "Look, we want to start a program here. We want to involve drones, but we have no idea what to do. How do we start this?" And from that, I decided I want to bring all of these people in the room together to have this conversation. I want them to know I'm not the only one doing this, and there's other opinions other than mine. And I want to have in a room those doing it with those that want to do it. And so I started the first Drone Educators Conference, and we are now working on our 3rd. And I'm bringing this up not to brag about what we've accomplished in a short period of time, but to show you the first conference was created really to create a legitimacy in the education system for drone education. We had to prove, look, this is not just a toy that you're buying at Brookstone. This is going to, which is where you could get them at the time, or a hobby shop. This is a tool that will help our students to have a lifelong career that will be a lot more fun than what they're currently doing now. And I've been lucky and fortunate that I've been able to do that. I'm going to share a few videos with you today, just to kind of give you an idea of what we are using drones for. And by we, I mean my company, but also the industry as a whole. I want to start by sharing the first video, which is the demo that my company has currently released. So again, I'm sharing this with you not just to show off that this is what our company is doing, but I wanted you to kind of have an idea of what some of the industries are that are using drones. And this is just a small handful. And I'll talk about a few more as we continue. The first thing I want to do now is define drone. Okay? We've had a huge uphill PR battle that we are still fighting, especially 5 years ago, because the only association that anybody had with the word drone was a military weapon. Okay? And that still exists. And frankly, the vast majority of the jobs in the drone industry are still for and will continue to be for military use. Okay? So that said, my particular role in the industry is not military use, but I can promise you that many of our students that we're training, starting with this, are going to move into those companies like Boeing and Raytheon and other aerospace engineering companies, starting with this and springboarding to a lifelong career in that. Okay? You'll hear the term UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAS, unmanned aerial system. They're kind of used interchangeably. The best definition I can give is that this is a vehicle. It flies. The remote, iPad, and vehicle are a system. So when we're talking about a UAS, it's really the entire system together. When we're talking about a UAV, it's the drone. But we're really using this interchangeably. For my industry, the Air Force is actually using what I think is the best term, which is an RPA, remote piloted aircraft. And I think that the aircraft is a good distinction for what I'm doing, because drones are being used in automotive industry. Drones are being used in maritime as submarines. Drones are being used by SpaceX right now to land rocket ships, and by Tesla to land rocket ships onto remote piloted platforms, which are technically considered drones. Again, students getting into this are springboarding into that. All right? They're engineers, they are robotics experts, they're software developers, and they're doing this for fun and a hobby, that are then getting into larger corporations or turning this into a job. Why are drones so vast and important and happening now in time? A couple of reasons dealing with manufacturing specifically. The parts of a drone are basically the exact same parts that you have in your cell phone, along with a computer chip that tells the motors how fast to spin. We have GPS in our drones. We have an intervalometer, we have a gyroscope in our drones. The same thing in your phone that tells the phone how it's associated, okay? These were very expensive tools 10 to 15 years ago. If you remember, even when cars didn't have built-in GPS units, you can go to Costco and buy a GPS unit for $750. Imagine today buying an external GPS for $750. No, I have it built into my phone, all right? So as these parts became less and less expensive and were being manufactured in bulk in the millions and millions and millions every single day, it became much easier to take these tools, put it into an aerial device, and make it less expensive and get it out to the world. And these tools are also important in being used in what's called the gimbal. The gimbal is the device that holds the camera steady. It's a robotically stabilized camera. These tools in the cell phone are what help to make that happen. Okay, so this is why now not just cameras, but any payload that you have on there can be incredibly steady thanks to the technology and how inexpensive it is. Okay? I want to talk for a second about more careers. The drone itself is just a way to get something into the air. All right, I was talking with Keith earlier, and we were discussing how the 0 to 400 feet space, which is our legal airspace in the US, used to just be a place where airplanes and helicopters flew through to get to where they wanted to be. It was a passing lane. Now it's an airspace for work. And I associate this to New York City before the elevator. New York City before the elevator was pretty much capped to having buildings that were 6 feet high. Why? Because somebody had to climb up 6 stories of stairs every single day to get to their office or home. Once the elevator was created and invented and utilized, suddenly we have skyscrapers so that areas that weren't previously being used as an actual space are now places where people can live and work. 0 to 400 feet right now is a place where we can live and work thanks to these devices. We're using this mostly now as data collection. Most of the data collection is involved with videography and photography. So I encourage all of my students, learn videography skills, learn photography skills. But we can put any payload on these drones. I was talking to somebody just 2 days ago at Port of Long Beach. They're putting air sensors, air quality sensors on drones so that they can, at different heights, test the air quality and test what's in the air. It's one of the few reasons why, or few industries, we're using a drone in flight, but we have a different sort of payload. There's an organization called Snotbot flying drones over whale spouts to collect biological data from their snot without disrupting the whales. Okay? Easy. That said, most of these purposes are using cameras. One industry I want to share with you right now, we're going to the second video in a second. One thing I want to share is something that my company is doing that a lot of video production companies are getting into now, which is 3D modeling and 3D mapping. You'll see in the video, with automated apps, I draw a square over the map, I tell the app I want the drone to fly this high, camera at this angle, go. And it flies a grid pattern this way and this way, takes hundreds of photos, which we can then turn into a 3D map or a 3D model. Let me show you an example here with our second video. You hear the sound of the drone I threw in the end there? So this is an incredible feat, the fact that we're just taking still photos. I'm flying a grid, and you also saw on that one, I flew an orbit around the building, and now I have a 3D model. Well, you're going, well, what would you do with that? Well, first of all, you can take measurements with the same software. And if you're using the correct GPS technology, I can get an accurate measurement if I draw a line from here to 3 centimeters accuracy. So we can do measurements. We can also do volumetrics. So this is being used in construction. This is being used in archaeological digs, mining, anything where you want to have an update from day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter. We can go back, we can fly the exact same map, exact same grid, and give updates almost in real time. And I'm also using this for real estate quite a bit these days. And a side note, you can then take that model and you can take it in a 3D model printer and actually make a mold of the house or of anything with the same technology. What's keeping people away from this, to be honest with you, is the software is extremely expensive. It's about $800 a month to have the software to do that. And you have to have an insanely fast computer if you want to process this. So you're talking a $5,000 to $6,000 PC if you want to process this content. So there's a lot of people getting into video production and photography that just don't have the means to jump into that field. That said, that field right now is where the money is at for those using drones for data collection for video and photo. Okay? Real estate, low-hanging fruit. You can do a whole lot of jobs for a little bit of money. Weddings, maybe you've been at a wedding recently where there's a drone flying over. I personally think it's really disruptive to the wedding. I don't enjoy doing them. I've done a couple, but that's low-hanging fruit. But there's a lot of jobs for people, high school students, college students, to go in and take those and make a lot more money than they're making working at Chipotle. I love Chipotle, by the way. No offense to Chipotle. Okay. Now, there's the last videos I'm going to show from my company. But I want to kind of whet your palate to show that this is something that a small local business in Orange County has been able to put together in 5 years of flying drones. It's not just us. I was so excited to see during the World Series, Game 5, I believe, Chevron run this commercial here. I'll share the third video here from Chevron.
Anywhere you find the energy that keeps doers doing, you got to keep a close eye on how you're doing it.
Right now, we're piloting a pilot program.
Yeah, without pilots.
They're drones.
Noted. To keep wells, tanks, and miles of pipe in tip-top shape takes constant attention. Drones are doing it with HD imaging and thermal mapping. From up there, to help Chevron protect all that's going on down here.
Keeps things looking up.
Technically, you're looking down, Nate.
Noted.
Doers, going to new heights to find better ways to keep doers doing.
Other than it being illegal to fly over that person while he's operating that tractor, this is so good for our industry. People are seeing drones in a positive, useful light, and they are doing the job for me of showing the world this is what's possible. Okay? I absolutely hate to say it, but Houston was an amazing positive PR thing for drones. Okay? The natural disaster, There were hundreds of drone operators that went to Houston and got a lot of PR attention for using drones for public safety search and rescue. And by the way, the largest industry hiring drone operators, insurance companies. Insurance companies still today are hiring those operators in Houston to just go fly over the neighborhoods, take pictures, take video, so that they can do assessments of damage. Okay? Let's jump straight into the third video then. Another small company, General Electric.
The future energy ecosystem is not going to be made up of a single source. It has to be multiple sources from different locations, deep down in the earth, way out in the desert, in the middle of the ocean. That's our future.
The sun is the most powerful energy source at our disposal. It provides enough renewable energy in just 1 hour to power all humankind's activities for 1 year.
Newer solutions, newer technologies are really crucial when it comes to building out of the norm.
Just to save a little bit of time, but you're seeing these drones here being used to inspect things. You're seeing these drones being used to survey things. You could put infrared cameras on, fly over a solar field, and see just the hot spots that need to be replaced in minutes. All right? But the challenge we're having is in data collection. If you want to have really, really fast data collection, you have to have a fast processor and a fast hard drive, and oftentimes these are heavy. The more weight you put on a drone, the less battery life you have. So the big upkeep right now is this race between the battery technology improving and the computer technology improving. Well, the solution in the in the computer industry has been, why put the computer on the drone? Why don't we just have an off-site that it can upload to? And the answer is, well, we can, but the data is huge. So the 5G network is coming around the corner, okay? And I'll tell you a personal story that we just got hired to work as a team with a team of drone operators to map and survey 1,000 sites where they have already decided they're going to be putting a 5G cell. The irony here is they're using these cells to help automated cars get from place to place. Okay? These are all going up within the next year, I believe. We are then using drones, 4 drones, right, to go and fly above the site, just do a 6-minute grid, like I showed you with the 3D mapping technology, so that they can see that the electrical box is here, the comm box is here, and the site where it's going to go is here. And then I'm just providing photos to the company who's then processing it and has a surveying team doing the measurements. So we're using drones to help the future technology of drones. It's very interesting. I'll share another video here on how Intel is using a very similar type of technology.
Aerial data plays an important part in any enterprise digitization strategy. While capturing data is easier than ever, the real challenge enterprises face is harnessing all of this data so that it's consumable, shareable, and actionable. By leveraging drones and drone-enabled software analytics, enterprises can more easily, consistently, and effectively digitize their sites, extract and share meaningful insights, and put everyone across their teams on the same map. From large commercial building underwriting inspections, to condo complex claims inspections after a hurricane, to mining fleet efficiency analytics, to highway construction progress reports. We're operating in 30-plus countries and have supported many of the largest enterprise drone deployments in the world. With our platform, enterprises are able to manage, process, view, analyze, and collaborate around their drone data across the globe. Offered on top of our platform, our industry-specific analytics modules use machine learning to rapidly and repeatedly generate insights from that data so enterprises can focus on what matters most, improving operational productivity and efficiency, ensuring compliance and safety, and taking customer service to new heights. We've built our industry solutions alongside cutting-edge innovation leaders in the Fortune 500. That means when we say we're built for enterprise, we mean we've been tested, pushed, and successfully deployed with enterprise standards. We are proud to partner with such innovative leaders. In everything we build, we are simple, secure, and scalable by design. So when you're ready to take your digitization strategy to the skies, we're here. We're Airware.
And Airware, by the way, is now a partner with Intel. So Intel is helping to create this technology for them and with them, all right? So we've gone from, is this a toy that we're flying around, to practical usage that is saving time, money, and lives. And I say lives because there's many, many jobs where you had to put a person into the sky where you no longer have to do so. In addition to that, search and rescue efforts have already happened, already in place, saving lives, finding people with an infrared camera. If it's a hostage situation, you can see how many people are in the building. If it's a fire, you can see how many people are in the building. You can see where they're at. If somebody's lost at sea, with an infrared camera, you literally can put it to the water, everything's black, and as soon as you see anything alive and moving, you can see that, and you find it instantly. And we're not talking about one drone. We're talking about 1,500 drones that swarm together over the woods to find lost hikers. So and our jobs now, as the educators, as the community college system, the four-year schools, high schools, middle schools, is to get students interested, because this workforce is going to be huge. And the people starting and getting into it now, just like the beginning of the elevator, are going to have jobs and careers for the rest of time and be remembered, I believe, as the beginning of this new industry in flight.